Once upon a time, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, an era known as the New Imperialism, a drama unfolded on a global scale, centered around the vast, rich, and diverse continent of Africa. Europe, bursting with the newfound power of the Industrial Revolution, turned its gaze towards Africa. The world had become smaller, its resources more coveted, and its inhabitants more interconnected than ever before. Every corner of the globe was within reach, and for the mighty empires of the day, Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Italy, Portugal, and Spain, the opportunities that lay in the heart of Africa were too enticing to ignore. The Scramble for Africa, occurring between 1881 and 1914, was a period of rapid colonialism by European powers. British colonial endeavors were guided by the principle of Cape to Cairo, intending to build a continuous line of colonies from South Africa to Egypt. France, on the other hand, pursued a west-to-east colonial strategy. France's ultimate aim was to establish a continuous stretch of territory from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea. Belgium took control of the Congo Free State. Portugal focused on its historical sea routes. Germany and Italy were latecomers to the Scramble for Africa. The first act was initiated with Portugal's and Belgium's expeditions into the heart of Africa. Portugal had been the pioneer of European exploration, with its navigators bravely cutting swaths through the unknown seas. They'd established a presence on the African coasts in the 15th century, but now, driven by dreams of glory and gold, they pushed further inland. Belgium, led by King Leopold II, too set his eyes on the Dark Continent. Leopold sent the famous explorer Henry Morton Stanley to establish what would become the Congo Free State. The king, presenting his intentions as purely altruistic, to civilize and to end the Arab slave trade, succeeded in winning the approval of the other powers. Yet, under this guise of philanthropy, he embarked upon a brutal rule that would result in the death and suffering of millions of Congolese people. News of the vast wealth in the form of natural resources and untapped markets in Africa quickly sparked a frenzy among the other European powers. What followed was a rush, a scramble, where each nation sought to claim a piece of Africa as its own. The continent was like a cake on a banquet table, and each power brandished its knife, ready to take the biggest slice possible. The British Empire, in its red and gold glory, sought to create a Cape to Cairo railway, marking a contiguous stretch of land under British control. The French, not to be outdone, envisioned a continuous empire stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea. Germany, late to the colonial game but ambitious nonetheless, grabbed substantial territories like modern-day Tanzania, Namibia, and Cameroon. Italy and Spain carved out their own smaller colonies, while the Portuguese expanded their coastal footholds into vast territories stretching across Angola and Mozambique. However, in this rush for territories, one significant aspect was disregarded: the numerous African cultures, kingdoms, and people who had been living on the continent for millennia. These powers, in their drawing rooms and conferences, sliced through ethnic and linguistic lines, grouping diverse peoples together, and setting the stage for conflict and tension that would last long after their departure. The climax of this grand play was the Berlin Conference of 1884–85, where the European powers sat around a table and partitioned an entire continent. The rules of the game were established, and the scramble for Africa was in full swing. Africa had become a chessboard, its people pawns, and the European empires the players. The curtain closed on the scramble for Africa in the early 20th century, leaving the continent almost entirely under European control. But the aftermath of this frenzied race would echo through the ages, shaping the political, social, and economic landscape of Africa in profound ways. And as the world moved forward, the resilient people of Africa would begin their long and arduous journey towards independence, liberation, and self-determination, the stories of which deserve a grand telling of their own.